Okay, that's fine. Is there anyone else that wants to try the timers roll today?
I suppose I can take the timer's role.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we're missing quite a few people today, so some of us are gonna have to be doing multiple roles. So, could you please briefly tell us about the timers roll then?
Sure, as a timer, I'll be monitoring the time for each speaker, and I just realized I got a new computer and I don't have the virtual backgrounds. So let's just take the green is the minimum expected time, then yellow. I guess this will be yellow or red. I'll download the background, but green is the minimum, then yellow is the middle of the expected time, and then red is the end or of the allotted or agreed upon time. And then I will note the actual time used and who was each participant. Thank you, and back to you, Angelina.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction. Kara, are you ready to give your introduction for the grammarian's role?
Yes, thank you. As the grammarian, I will listen for word of the day, which is sensibility today. And sensibility is the ability to appreciate and respond to complex emotional or influences, sensitivity. And an example sentence is the writer is most known for her sensibility in acknowledging opposing views. I encourage anyone speaking during any part of the meeting to use this word. Throughout the meeting, I will listen to everyone's word usage and write down any awkward use or misuse of the language.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction of the grammarian's role. So I believe we're also missing a table topics master for today's meeting. So is there anyone that has questions prepared that would maybe want to fill in for that? You can also take some time to generate or think of questions during the speeches as well. And it doesn't have to be very complex questions. Yeah, Caleb.
Angelina, I was recently at a meeting where we had an interesting table topic session called Show and Tell, in which people would either show a picture or show an object and tell us about it. So that might be something interesting to do if everyone here is interested.
Yeah, so what does everyone think about that idea? Is everyone okay with that? I think it sounds pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Great. Great, that's settled then. So I also believe we're missing the speech one evaluator, but since speaker one isn't here, I think it'll be okay. So moving on to the speech section, we'll start off with speech two then, which will be given by Howard. So Howard, take it away.
All right, so I've come prepared with a speech about speeches of all things. So you may want to know, or you may be in the situation where the teacher, or for this case, your club, asks you to make a speech without you preparing. And you come to the speech unprepared, not knowing what to do. Well, I have three key points that might be able to help you in this certain scenario. So first of all, the first thing you want to do is you don't want to stop talking. Of course, you can make pauses, but you do not want to use the word or because that's going to show that you are not prepared and you don't know what you're talking about. Second thing is that you have to have a topic. You don't want to stray into, say, a TikTok that you just saw or something that happened today. Instead, you want to have a universal topic and it should not be time constrained. So it should not be something like, oh, today this happened. Instead, you might want to talk about something that is more abstract or something that an idea or something you may like feel or an opinion. Make it persuasive. Do not try to make it into a a chronological speech, otherwise you may get yourself confused, which did happen to me today. And finally, I also really do think that you're gonna want to put your speech into an organized format. I would normally suggest maybe 3 parts. So a first part, introduction, and maybe a middle part where it tells you like the information. And finally, you also want to have an ending. Now, for the ending, there are 2 things you have to consider. First, a conclusion. You must conclude what you learned today. So, for example, today we learned, oh, in my speech, you learned how to make an impromptu speech without messing up. And the second thing you must add in your conclusion, I would suggest, is something of a mic drop, something to end your speech on a high note. So for this speech, I'm going to be ending this on a high note with a question. Did you think I really prepared for this speech? Thank you.
You, Howard, for that very, very interesting and humorous speech. So I don't believe we have another speaker for today, so we can dive into the table topic session early. So would anyone like to start off our show and tell table topic session for today? So basically how it works is you take an object that you see around you maybe, and you just tell us a little bit about that object and kind of describe any meaning or value that it has to you. Right. If no one wants to go, then I guess I'll call on someone. Um, what about, how about Henry? Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Okay, give me a minute. Never mind, I can't find it. Can I go next?
Yeah, that's fine. Also, if you can't find the object, you can try and describe it to us and tell us about it as well. So you don't have to really show it if you don't have it with you, but just try and best to describe it as
All
well.
right,
That could
got
also
it.
work.
Okay.
So while Henry's looking for his object, does anyone else want to go in the meantime?
Angelina, I can go.
Okay, sure, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Angelina. So the project that I am working on that I want to show is this adapter. So over Thanksgiving break, my dad and I had this brilliant idea that we could make an adapter for basically it's a pool cleaner in which this cartridge that I have in my hands right now will pick up the dirt and it will thread on to the cleaner so that there is no dirt escaping when there is like a regular bag. Because usually most pool cleaners, I don't know if you have a pool or if you've seen a pool, they will have some kind of bag if they're not connected to a hose. And that bag, even though it's a very thin bag and has a set micronage, there will still be dirt escaping. And what this does is basically it makes it so that the dirt does not escape. It gets caught inside the cartridge, and that makes the pool spotless clean. And this particular ring, and what I really want to show and tell about tonight, is that I am working on getting this patented. So it's a very unique design in which it screws on, and it's specifically for a cartridge adapter with a pool vacuum system. So it's a very specific product, and even though, of course, like a ring is a basic design, what I'm learning about patents is that it has to be very specific for a specific use. So even though this is something that you might consider very basic and something that any engineer could design, since it has a very specific function, it can be patented. So that's something I'm working on, very interesting, but of course to inspire all of you that there is many things you can do. There are many opportunities and avenues of business and just other activities that you can always be exploring, just like this. During Thanksgiving break, I worked on it, and then I already have the manufacturer of the actual pool cleaner is currently beta testing it, and hopefully we'll get some orders soon. So that's what I want to show and tell. Thank you, and back to you, Angelina.
Yeah, thank you for showing us that. I think it's really cool how you're actually going to try and get it patented, which I used to think was a pretty hard thing to do. So, Henry, are you ready to show us your item?
Yeah, well, I couldn't find it, but I have this. Okay, I have this chessboard that I really like to play on. In fact, I think I played my 100th game on it yesterday. And yes, I've been counting. I know that's a little strange. But also, it's 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 a really old one, and overall, oh, sorry. I just really and overall, I just really like all the memories it brings up whenever I use it. It
Yeah, thank you for telling us about your chessboard. I also like playing chess, but I honestly don't use physical boards that often anymore because nowadays everyone plays online. But I think it's cool that you still have a physical board, and I think it would definitely be interesting to play with one too. So, does anyone want to go next?
I can go next.
Okay, great. Thank you. Go ahead, Deb.
So, this one object I want to share today is my useful iPad cleaner, or let's say screen cleaner. It's a small gadget, but it's actually one of the most useful things I own on my desk right now. The cleaner has a tiny button, if you could see, on the side, and when I press on the top of it, it sprays basically light mist of disinfectant. Then the outside of the cleaner, as it's really soft, well, then I can use the outside of the cleaner to wet my screen or surfaces that's dirty, I guess. What I like is that everything is built into one piece, and if you run out of the liquid inside here, you can literally take it off and then buy another by and fill in with plain disinfectant, I guess, and then basically it's like new again. So I never have to carry a separate cloth or like bottle or another screen protector. And I got this cleaner a few months ago when I kept noticing my fingerprints and dust on my iPad from school games and when after especially after FaceTiming with my friend. I guess all of you guys have those experience. And I saw this cleaner online in Amazon, I believe, and I saw it looks cool, so I decided to try it. Honestly, it's ended up pretty good. This is the second one. I already bought one before, and better than I expected. It might seem just like a tiny tool, but it actually means something I could use like every single day. I'm being honest. Um, I'm not trying to uh I'm not trying to glaze it, but guys, just try it out. You could take a photo of it. It's really useful. So overall, I really like it and it's really convenient. Thank you, and back to you, Angelina.
Yeah, thank you for showing us that. I actually also have one right here with me, and I use that a lot as well. So does anyone want to go next?
Yeah, I can go next.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Okay. This here is a stuffed animal that is a Pokemon called Cleffa, and this is not a very popular Pokemon. It's one of the older ones, but it's not so old that it's a classic Pokemon. And in fact, it's the pre-evolutionary form of a much more popular Pokemon called Clefairy. But the reason that I have this Pokemon in particular is all because one day I was playing with my brother and he flipped open a Pokemon encyclopedia to a page with a Cleffa, and just for fun, I pretended to be afraid of it. And somehow that joke has stuck ever since. So we frequently play, and I pretend that these Cleffas are silly creatures who are terrorizing the serious people of the world. And I and so I got this for a Christmas present for him one year, and now it is still around. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for telling us about your stuffed toy, and I think it's really cute, honestly. So, does anyone want to continue our show and tell? So, would anyone like to go next? How about Amelia? Is there any object or item that you would be willing to describe and share with us?
Sure. So, wait, I have my background on. I don't think y'all can probably see. This is like one of my stuffed animals. I had it since I was 4. Um, when I was little, I was afraid of the dark, so I always slept with it. So I feel like it's like something I really like, and I always felt part of it. So thank you, and back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us. I also had a lot of stuffed animals as a kid. So, would anyone like to go next? if not, I can go. So the object I have is this sort of, it's a combination of things. It's a comb and it's also a massager on both of the other ends. And I actually got this on during my trip to China, which I really enjoyed. So I bought this when I was in a city called Hangzhou, and there's a really famous street there that has a lot of small shops with traditional trinkets, necklaces, fans, all sorts of things, and also has a lot of good food as well. So I actually spent a whole day on that street. And one of the stalls that I found was selling these handmade comb and massager things. And I thought it was pretty cool because I'd seen it online before. So I decided to get one. And it's actually been really useful and I really enjoy using it. So using this always reminds me of that time as well. And walking down that street was probably one of my favorite memories from my trip to China. So I always enjoy using this and looking at it as well. So I think it holds a lot of sentimental value for me as well, since it was something that my mom got for me. And I also got one of these from one of my relatives as well. So that's my object. And overall, I just think it's really useful and it's probably something that I'll continue using for a while from now. So is there anyone else that would like to share that hasn't shared yet? How about Anthony? Would you like to share an object with us? If not, no worries. We can always ask someone else. I believe Andrew hasn't shared yet. So Andrew, is there any specific object that you would be willing to describe and share with us?
Not really.
It can also be like any random object you find that you think is interesting or that you really enjoy using.
I don't really have any like items that I like find that interesting.
Okay, that's fine then. Um, is there anyone else that hasn't gone that would like to go? Okay, well, is there anyone that would like to go again? We still have a couple of minutes left before the end, so if anyone has another item they think they find really interesting and would like to share, you can share right now as well. Yeah, Kayla.
Okay, this object that I'm going to share now is a time timer. And this little timer is literally what drives my entire time management routine. So, how it works, it's basically a timer that as the time ticks, it just basically goes to nothing, and then it beeps when the time is over. And what I've been using this for, because previously my time management skills were poor, if not pathetic. And I just remember that I haven't been timing my speech. Oops. But so what I have done is I have a daily planner, which is somewhere. This is really bad, but I have a daily planner which every day I write down every task that I have to complete. And it has time frames already. So it has from 7 a.m. to like 7 p.m. And in that time management planner, I will write out the task I need to complete. It's subdivided into 15-minute sections, And then I will use this timer to time myself 25-minute blocks. So a 25-minute block, let's say I have like to do math homework. I'll do 25 minutes of math homework. Entirely focused concentration, trying to work as fast and as cleanly as possible. And then as soon as the timer's up, I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. It can be inside, outside, anywhere, just to get my mind off of math, just to give my brain relaxation. And then I will come back right at 5 minutes and start the timer over again. And by doing this, I've realized that I've been able to recapture so much time because every single minute is accounted for with the system, and the 5-minute breaks give you a good cushion because let's say you had to do one extra math problem that took you 2 minutes. And then technically before you would be behind schedule. But since you have a 5-minute cushion, you can just take a 3-minute break and it's not a big deal. And taking breaks really has helped boost my productivity because before I would just power through tasks. When you're on the computer, sometimes you lose track of time and you're just working until your eyes hurt. And then that's bad because then you can't work anymore. So by using this simple time timer, I've been able to recapture the time management of my life, and I've become a much happier and healthier person. So that is my show and tell object. Thank you, and back to you, Angelina.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Maybe I should invest in one too because my time management skills are currently also very bad. So next, I'll call on Devin. So go ahead.
So on Caleb, I have another, just like Caleb, I have another object that I found useful. Which is my plus wiper correction tape. Hear me out. It's actually plus, if you can see. It's from the company Plus. Maybe the light is too much. Yeah. It's a little old right now. I used it for like 2 or 3 years already. This is like my fifth wipe wipeout. Whiteout. So you can see how much I love whiteout. And the object and it really looked like a simply school supply, but it has been one of the most reliable tools I own. And again, no promoting product at all. So, but I'm being honest, like every single friend I have, when they saw this and when I used it, they find it really useful and bought one. Because if you can see, what makes this correction like really special is how smooth and easy to use it. The tape never wiggles, and it rolls out cleanly. Like the design makes it very easy to take apart and fix. So like this, you can take it off, and then you literally can change the inside tape just like this, and then put a new one inside it. And just like that, you got a new one, and then you just clip on it. And if I ever jams, I can open the case, adjust the well inside it, as what I did, and reassemble it in like just a few seconds. So that's one of the reasons I really like the Plus Wiper so much. And I actually got the correction tape, I think, when I was younger, like 5 or 6 years old, when I had a trip to Japan. And I remember being shocked the by the seller, I believe, in one Japanese store, and it was this whiteout, and again, it's really smooth, doable, and easy to fix. So, guys, please buy one for yourself. Thank you, and back to you, Angelina.
Thank you, Devin, for giving us and sharing about that product. I've actually been wanting to get whiteout, but I never actually bought any yet. But I'll definitely look into that one. So if anyone wants to share one last thing, I believe we have one. I believe it's time for one more response. So Is there anyone that would like to share something? Last call.
Okay.
Okay, Henry, go ahead.
I'd like to real quick present this thing for training my hand strength. So so I actually got this off of Amazon, but by just using it a few times per day, no sponsor by the way. This is just something I happen to like using. I've over doubled my hand strength using this. It shows you exactly how much force you can exert every single time on here. And overall, I think it's just a really useful device if you ever think you need exercise. So, well, not exactly, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, thank you, Henry, for sharing that product with us. I've actually also seen those online, but I never actually considered getting one. But it seems pretty interesting to use. So, is there anyone that would like to share one last thing? Okay, if not, I think we had a pretty interesting and fun table topic session today, so thank you, Caleb, for the idea. So now we can move on to our evaluation section, which will be led by Devin. So take it on.
So thank you, Toastmaster Angelina. As the general evaluator, I will manage the evaluation portion of the meeting by calling for speech evaluators and the report for the owl counter, grammarian, and timer. Finally, I will provide an evaluation of the meeting as a whole. First, let's welcome Speaker 1 evaluator, Caleb, to talk about Speaker 1 Howard's speech. Caleb, take it away.
Howard, congratulations on your speech tonight. Tonight's evaluation will be divided into 3 parts: what you did well, what you could do to improve, and how you can challenge yourself. So first of all, what you did well. When you speak very fluidly. You clearly enunciate, we can hear very clearly what you are saying, and your speech flows very logically and coherently. Your vocal variety is also great. Sometimes it stays around the higher range, but you might consider experimenting with the lower ranges and seeing what you think. Now, I also like the topic that you chose because when you don't know what to speak about or have time to prepare a speech, then it might as well be a good idea to say how to evaluate or how to prepare a speech. Or in my case, let's say I didn't have much time to prepare an evaluation, I could give a very long evaluation talking about how to give an evaluation and then maybe mention 3 small key points that I recalled for your speech. And that is not what I'm going to do today. However, what I will do is move on to the second part of the evaluation, which is what you could do to improve. Now, the first thing I noticed was that your camera was off, and I'm not sure if this is something because you are out today or your computer wasn't working, but generally when you give a speech, it is a good idea to have your camera on so that people can see your smiling face and see your hand gestures, and most importantly, feel connected to you as a speaker. Did I get it? No. Next time I will get that, Matt. Now, the second thing that I would suggest for you is, I'm not sure if you were, but stand up. And I've noticed in some of the previous times you've spoken, you have been sitting down, so it may be a good idea to consider standing up when you deliver a speech, as this will not only give you more experience, how it would be speaking in a real life scenario or at an event, but it will also give you a lot more confidence in your speaking ability. And lastly, to challenge yourself, I would challenge you to have some topics laying around that you can easily speak about. So this can be instead of giving a speech about giving a speech, if you take maybe like 5 minutes to think about a few topics that you are very well versed about. And then brainstorm just on a quick sheet of paper. For example, about a year ago, we had a workshop led by Mr. Kinton, who gave us a very powerful tip that I have used not only to prepare speeches, but also just to memorize random facts. And that is story. STORY. And by using this acronym STORY, you go like this. Story, hold on, let me write it out. Situation, thoughts and feelings, observations and actions, result, your learning. Okay, so by using the story method, situation, thoughts and feelings, observations and actions, result, and your learning, you can create a very simple, at least 5 to 7 minute speech about any topic or story that you might have encountered in your life. So, for example, you might be able to say, at school today, I met a friend of mine, and we were talking about some very deep philosophical discussion. And then my observations and actions were that because of this discussion, I went to do some more research and I learned this and this and this and that. And there you have a 5 to 7 minute speech. So something to think about, just have something in your back pocket that you can always pull out and say, here's a speech. And then that will be really, really, really impressive. Other than that, that is my evaluation for you, Howard. I believe I myself went over time, even though I am the timer, because I forgot to start the time, which is why I will hand this back to the general evaluator for tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Caleb, for that very, very useful evaluation. Next, let's welcome today's counter, Angelina. Angelina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Devin, for the introduction. So today we didn't have that many crutch words used overall. So I'll just start with Howard's speech. I only noticed one excluding the part where you purposely said it and suggested us not to use them. For Caleb's first table topics response, I heard one repeat and one pause, but that was it. For Henry's first table topics response, I heard one repeat and two pauses. For Devin's first response, I heard four ums and two repeats. And you also said, I guess, 2 times, which I think you could probably omit in a lot of situations. So for Amelia's table topics response, I heard one I didn't hear anything for Kara. I didn't catch anything for myself, and I didn't catch anything for Caleb's second response. For Devin's second response, I heard one and one repeat, which is slightly better. And for Henry's last response, I heard two pauses. So overall, we actually didn't use that many crutch words today, which is good. And as always, I would suggest pausing to think about what you're going to say instead of using crutch words because it sounds more professional and you also feel more confident when you do this. So overall, we had a pretty smooth and fluent meeting today. And that was my evaluation. So thank you and back to you, Deb.
Thank you, Angelina, for that helpful report, and I'll definitely improve on my and repeat. Now let's welcome today's grammarian, Kara. Kara, take it away.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Devin. First of all, I was a bit disappointed to hear that nobody used the word of the day, but of course I cannot be too disappointed because I didn't either, and I had the opportunity to. So I will just move on into people's grammar. Angelina, as Toastmaster, I didn't notice anything. For your speech, Howard, I noticed that you said for this case, which should be in this case, and you also said you can make pauses, which could be you can pause or you can take pauses. But I liked a lot of your vocabulary, such as time constrained and chronological, and your use of the phrase mic drop. For Caleb, for your table topic speech, I liked your use of technical words such as cartridge. For Henry, I didn't notice anything. Devin, I saw that you said fill in with clean disinfectant, I believe, and that should be fill up with clean disinfectant or just fill with clean disinfectant. And I really liked when you said, when I kept noticing my fingerprints and dust on my iPad, it was very humorously specific. Amelia, I didn't notice anything. Angelina, as table topic speaker, I liked, hold on. I liked your description of the streets in China that you visited and your usage of the phrase sentimental value. I did notice you said comb and massager things, which you could say a comb and massager combination or something similar to get rid of the word things. And also, you said that you also got one from one of your relatives as well, which the as well or the also could be omitted to make it less redundant. Caleb, for your second table topic speech, I liked when you said every single minute is accounted for and how you described a time cushion. And one thing I noticed that was a little bit awkward was recapture the time management of my life. It might just be me, but I didn't really understand that phrase. For Devin, I liked that you described your whiteout, I think it was, very ad-like, and you said it was smooth, durable, and easy to fix, and it sounded scripted. For Henry, I liked that you said how much force you can exert. Exert was a very good verb to use. And for Caleb, as an evaluator, I liked you using the acronym. I thought it was very impressive that you memorized the entire thing. And one thing I did notice is you said, to challenge yourself, I would challenge you to something. And that is just a little bit awkward. And you could probably take out one of those bits of that phrase. And that is all that I noticed. Overall, great grammar, everyone. There was a lot of good phrasing. So, back to you, General Evaluator Devin.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kara, for that report. Lastly, let's welcome today's timer, Caleb. Caleb, the floor is yours.
Right, thank you so much, Devin. So for Howard's speech, I forgot to start the time. I'm so sorry, Howard. I've today was just one of those days. Now, for the table topic session, for the table topic session, I did not time my table topic session or Henry's table topic session. I remembered I was a timer for Devin's. So Devin had a time of 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Kara had a time of 1 minute and 15 seconds. Amelia had a time of 15 seconds. Angelina had a time of 1 minute and 26 seconds. My second run, I had a time of 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Devin's second run, he had a time of 2 minutes and 29 seconds. Then for Henry's, you had a time of 50 seconds. I did not time my evaluation, as I mentioned. Oops. But Angelina had a time of 2 minutes and 13 seconds, and Devin had a time of 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Thank you, and back to you, Devin.
Thank you, Caleb, for the useful report, and I'm sure everyone thought it's very useful and helpful. And that being said, I'll now provide an evaluation of the meeting as a whole. I think the speech and table topics today were pretty well and engaging, especially the table topic, the new way of table topic that Caleb introduced. The speaker, Howard, was very confident and explained his speech clearly. Even though he forgot to check the calendar, but he did it great. And our table topics master, who I believe is Angelina, and Caleb who gave this idea, was very thoughtful in preparing such attractive table topics. And today's table topic speakers all have answered smoothly and with creativity. The evaluator, who is only Caleb today because we only have one speech given, gave really helpful feedback and shared useful skills, pointing out both strengths and areas for improvement for Howard and for all of us. Finally, I think every reporter, including Angelina, Karen, and Caleb, have all provided helpful information that will definitely support us in improving our future speeches. Overall, today's meeting was well organized and ran very smoothly, even though a lot of people are missing. And anyways, thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Angelina.
Yeah, thank you, Devin, for giving us your general evaluation. I agree that today went pretty smoothly, even though we had quite a few absent people. But thank you, everyone, for contributing to our table topics session today as well. And I really enjoyed seeing all the things that you guys were into and liked to either do as a hobby or were working on as a project. So overall, I think we had another great meeting today. So before we officially adjourn the meeting, does anyone have any questions, comments, or feedback about the meeting tonight? Okay, if not, then we'll end today's meeting a little bit early at 6:55 p.m. Pacific time. So thank you everyone for coming, and we'll see you all next Wednesday where there will hopefully be more people.